don't want people to go pack and go to Kenya. Everybody, we don't have enough space for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you like you said, change of scenery, all of that. I think that plays a big part into your mindset when you're going into it. Let's see if we are live. It's saying, okay, I think we are live. Welcome. We're live. I was seeing an error, but it looks like we are live on Facebook. So welcome everyone to our Talk Time Live. So excited to be back with you wonderful people. Talk Time Live is always a fun time. We're going to spend the evening doing a little Q&A with these amazing individuals. But before we intro, I just want to do a little housekeeping. My name is Alexandra Semino. I go by Al, and I'm a marketing manager with the Philadelphia Marathon Weekend. 2023 Philadelphia Marathon Weekend is just about 10 weeks away, November 17th, 18th, and 19th. On Friday, we'll have Expo. Friday and Saturday, we'll have the Expo. On Saturday, we have the Dietz and Watson Philadelphia Half Marathon. Make sure you register before it sells out. On Saturday, we also have the Rothman AK, which is actually almost sold out. So you definitely want to make sure you get in to register for that one if you're looking to run an 8K. We also have our Nemours Children's Run, which is a short distance non-competitive event for youngsters ages 5 to 12 years of age. It's a really fun time with dashes, half mile or a full mile distance right on the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. If you want to register for that, you can do it online or on site. But that's a really fun race for the little kids to come and join. And then on Sunday, we have the AACR Philadelphia Full Marathon. Also, there is a price increase coming up on September 15th, which is next Friday, and that is our final price increase. So if you're looking to register for any race, this is the lowest price you'll be able to get it at now. So make sure you get in there and register for one of the races or challenge. If you want to take on a challenge and do multiple races, you can do that as well. All right, let's get into it. We have the awesome and amazing Bart Yasso with us. We have Jared Ward and we have Aliphine Tuliamuk. Thank you all for joining. Why don't you guys, actually, we're going to do a little icebreaker before we start. I have a fun question for you guys. So if you weren't a professional athlete in your current life or past life, what would you do as a profession?
Go ahead, Aliphine. Ladies first.
Okay. Yeah, no, if I wasn't a professional runner, and actually when I am done being a professional runner, I want to go back to school to become a nurse because I think it is what I'm called to do.
Love it. In my mind, I'm a professional golfer. But when I'm out on the course, I'm not a professional golfer. But I love it. But I love the challenge.
I'm with you on that one. I think I'd be a professional golfer.
So professional golfer.
Awesome. And Jared, what about you?
I would love to be a professional water skier. Now that's still in sport. I don't know if that counts. Like I could make quite a list of other sports that, frankly, if I could be a professional water skier, I don't know if I'd keep me as a marathoner, but but if I wasn't an athlete, I'm a numbers nerd. I think I'd be doing something in, business analytics using statistics.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. Business statistics was the one class I needed to retake in college because I didn't pass it. That's not my strength.
Call me next time.
Yeah, right.
We'll work through it.
Should have known you then. You would help me out. But that's awesome. Love that. All right. Last time we saw you guys, Jared and Aliphine was at the 2022 Philadelphia Marathon Weekend. So it's been a while since we've seen you, but we're back and want to see what's been going on in your lives. How are you guys doing? I know you guys recently ran the 20K champs race. So what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, it was chilly last time we saw you in Philadelphia. I hope it's warmed up since then.
Yeah. Warmed up tremendously.
I don't have to pack 3 coats. Yeah, it was it was unusually cold last year. I'm expecting perfect weather this year to balance it out. But okay, so Erica and I, we're herding children. We have 5 kids, and we're expecting our 6th. We have a little girl coming in December,
Congrats.
and we're so excited. But we're drowning in children. So, Eric, I'm coaching 2 soccer teams. They're both playing tonight, but we have great assistant coaches that are covering. So my wife is running soccer, and we have 3 in gymnastics and 1 in tackle football. And someday I'm going to convince my kids that one day they're going to grow into this and that maybe they should consider running. But until then, we'll just shuttle them to these other sports.
Wow, you've got your hands full. That's amazing. And congrats on another child coming. That's so exciting. Wow.
I'm jealous, Jared. I'm really jealous, but congratulations.
Man, kids are fun, aren't they?
Oh, they're so fun. And they're also a trick. Now I'm like, I need a newborn. And then as soon as you have a newborn, they grow in like a couple of days and you're like, I need a newborn.
That's the problem. That's what keeps my wife wanting kids. She's like,
No,
this kid is
seriously.
2. You take the kid. I want a new one.
Yeah, no, but yeah, congrats. Anyway, so for me, oh gosh, I can't even complain about having 1 kid now. Life has been fun. Oh gosh, I keep thinking about that race. We were dancing to stay warm, but that was a lot of fun though. I went on to run Boston Marathon, my first Boston Marathon. It was fun. And then I went back to Africa to see family. My daughter got to make some really good friends, and she completely forgot all of her English and learned Swahili. And now she still remembers a few Swahili, but because I'm going back with her, I'm super excited for her to relearn Swahili again. And hopefully in 5 weeks, she won't remember any English words. And I am getting ready for Chicago Marathon in about 4.5 weeks. And yeah, so this past weekend I had my last race before the marathon. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been a very busy summer. Oh, and we've been doing a lot of renovations, getting ready for our kid number 6 year. Nah, just kidding. We've been doing a lot of renovations when I'm not running. We've been doing a lot of renovations. So it's been really fun. It's been busy.
Yeah, that does sound fun and busy. That's cool. Awesome. And Bart, what about you? What have you been up to? We saw you at the training run. How's everything going?
Training run was fun. Training run was really fun to be part of it. We had a good turnout, as you know, which is always really fun. See a combination of new people, brand new to the sport. Some have been doing it, like our buddy Mark Sullivan, been doing their race every year. So it's just that beautiful combination. But I've been working on this book project I'm on, getting stuff done, making a lot of progress on it. But I got to get out there and train a little more, stay out of the little cocoon that I sit in and write the book. So I'm gonna get out there and do a little more running. And I got a couple of races coming up, Wine Glass, and but can't wait to get to Philly again.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's a 50-mile drive. It's pretty easy to get to.
Well, we'll see you September 30th for the next training, right? Awesome. Right. Awesome. And that's exciting, Bart, a book project. Can't wait to hear more about that.
Yeah, I'll fill you guys in more down the road.
All right, cool. Sneak peek. I love it. All right. So I know I just mentioned that you guys had a race recently, and obviously you have some races coming up. So Bart, you just shared that you have the Wine Glass coming up. So where are you guys at in your training right now? Any upcoming races? Kind of what's going on in your competition world right now?
You want to go first, Ali? Me go first. Okay. And then we heard a little bit about Bart's races. Those sound fun. So I'm headed to, and in fact, I haven't shared this anywhere, and it's close. So I'm going to share it here. I'm headed to Berlin in 3 weeks to run the marathon. And I'm so excited. I've never raced the Berlin Marathon. It's and I'm excited. It fits my schedule well this year. You think a lot of us American runners are looking towards earlier fall marathons this year as opposed to later fall marathons, because the Olympic trials is early February. And so we wanted one last time to test ourselves at the distance, but then have enough time to recover and be ready for the Olympic cycle. So everything is pointing towards Olympic trials. And I picked Berlin because Orlando's a flat course and Berlin's a flat course, and US men don't have guaranteed qualified spots into the Olympics as of yet. Our women, Ali and others, are running very fast. And so our women are looking really good on a world through a world lens, but our men need to go out and run some times this fall so that we guarantee ourselves US Olympic men's spots in the marathon. And so hoping to go out and go for the Olympic time of 2:08:10, and I'm excited for Berlin.
Awesome. Wow. Breaking news. Jared Ward is running Berlin. Excited.
I wondered about that actually. I was like, I didn't even know you were running a fall marathon. So yeah, I'm excited, Gerald, to watch you. And the same thing like Jared, I'm also doing a fast marathon. I think Jared and I are kind of similar in the sense that we usually do, like the courses that are hard, like New York. And now I just did Boston because we just love competition. Like I am actually not a time trial kind of person. And so going to Chicago really scares me. But for the same reason that Jared said, like one, you want to be able to learn how to run, like in a fast course, a flat course, because a long way is going to be flat. But also at the same time, like, I don't know, I just want to see how fast I can run. And so I'm super excited about that. So I'm going to be running Chicago in about a little less than 5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. And Bart, you said you have Wine Glass coming up. Any other races on your horizon?
Yeah, no, that's the only one. And then, prep for Philly weekend. That's what I'm.
Awesome.
Training for my book deadline, and then head to Philly.
Yeah, that's a marathon of its own.
Yeah.
All right, we have an interesting question here. Was there an aha moment for you when you realized that you wanted to pursue running professionally?
Ooh, so I can take a stab at this. I first, while Ali puts together a better story, but I did, in high school, I went out and I ran the US 5K championships as a junior, and that year the Pan American Championships were in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and you had to finish in the top 2 to go to Rio. And I ran the race of, I would call it the race of my life to that point, to finish 3rd behind 2 runners that were young runners, but in college. And they outkicked me down the home stretch, and I finished 3rd, but I was happy with my race. And then USA Track and Field carted me away to be fitted in my Team USA gear as an alternate for the Rio team. And I didn't end up going. The other runners kept their spots and represented us well. But I remember being in that changing room in my Team USA kit, and I thought that I looked pretty good. And I told myself, someday I'm going to get one of these kits. I'm going to earn one. And so that was the end of high school. I left on a 2-year church mission and came back to BYU and started training. And I was running well in college. I wasn't a star. I wasn't an all-star. I was an All-American. I was contributing to my team and things, but I had in the back of my mind, I'm going to keep running at least semi-professionally until I earn that USA singlet. And I earned it in 2016, my first team, at the 2016 Olympic trials for the Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And it, you know, it was like 10 years later. And so that was one of those full circle moments. And I say that kind of through the lens of, it wasn't my mission to make a living of running. I had one goal that was kind of important to me. And that's what incentivized me to keep my head down. And it wasn't a goal of making the Olympic team. It was a goal of earning a Team USA jersey. The Olympic team seemed way too far away until months before the trials. But I think having an achievable goal that I was excited about kind of kept me going. And then everything changed. You know, I had 2 kids at the Olympic trials that year. I had kind of trained for the trials and then was going to move on with my life. But making the Olympic team really changed the opportunities that I had in the sport, from sponsorships and opportunities and things like that. And so that's really what opened the door to becoming a professional runner, was chasing a dream of a US singlet.
That's awesome.
Are you saying that in 2016, when you went to the Olympic trials, you didn't really think you were going to make the team?
You know, I thought I had a chance by then, but I am saying that, like, in 2013, I wasn't thinking I'm going to be an Olympian. It really was. I ran the US Championships Marathon in 2015, 11 months before the Olympic trials. And I won that and ran well. And I thought, I have a chance, but I wasn't favored to make it. I certainly wouldn't have bet the house on it.
Yeah.
What a story. I love that, like, your goal, like you said, like it was a different goal that kind of had all these other like domino effects after, and like open doors for you that you didn't necessarily expect, but you wanted that Team USA kit.
That's right. Well, and there's a power in the momentum of achieving goals. And if you pick a goal that is too far out there and is intimidating and scary and, and maybe unattainable, who knows, but sometimes it's a little harder to keep moving towards it. Whereas if we can train ourselves to keep our focus right in front of us and set goals that are attainable, that are exciting, that are motivating, but they're pointing us in the right direction of somewhere that maybe we'd like to end up. Maybe we're not focusing on the mountaintop, but we're focusing on that next phase. I think sometimes that momentum is really the catalyst to success.
Yeah, I love that. And that's applicable to like any level in anything, like let's say someone wants to run their first marathon, but they're scared to go, 26.2. Let's shoot for the 8K first, or let's try for the half marathon first. Like you said, like having just those attainable goals in sight, and then eventually getting to, like you said, the mountaintop. But that's awesome. What a great story. That's definitely an aha moment, I would say. Awesome. Aliphine, what about you? Did you have a moment where you knew, I want to be?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I think so the way I started running was, it was really fun, and I wanted to travel with friends and with my older siblings to go to these little track meets, or even like to go to soccer games, because so I grew up in Kenya and went to school there until after high school. And so we have 3 terms. And so one term is dedicated to cross country, another one is dedicated to soccer. And during soccer, we go cheer on our teams, and the younger kids like us were not allowed by our parents to go cheering because it was too far. But then if you were participating, for example, during the cross country season, then you get to go. So that was really what kind of got me into it. But then really, I think what made me feel like I want to pursue this and I'm good at it was in 2000. We were going to this track meet, which was equivalent to a state meet. And then I met my idol, Tekla Lurupe, and she actually is the first African woman to win New York City Marathon. And she used to be the former world record holder. And, she was getting ready for the Sydney Olympics. And she was so impressed that I was running 10,000 meters and beating a lot of girls that were older than me. She gave me a brand new pair of shoes. I'd never owned a brand new pair of shoes up until that point. Actually, in fact, I didn't even have shoes up until that point. And I was like, wow. And then I later on saw her in a magazine and I thought, gosh, I want to be like her someday, you know, like I want to be in a magazine reading about her and she's going to the Olympics and she can afford to give me brand new shoes. I mean, that was really cool. But then I think what really, really changed me too, though, was I remember going into this other little track meet. And then after the race, we were taken to a small airport, like a really, really small airport. And I remember seeing people come out because the plane had just landed. And I thought, I want to be in that thing one day, you know? And honestly, I think when I thought about Tekla and the fact that she was going to Sydney and she was flying, I was like, okay, this is exactly what I want to do, you know? But then fast forward though, I think the really aha moment for me, if I'm being honest though, is in 2016, watching New Gerald and watching Amy Gregg and Shalane Flanagan. I remember like watching them run and make the team. And when they were holding, you know, like the American flags and like they were being interviewed, I remember thinking, gosh, I want to be them. And it was in that moment that I was like, I am going to be them. Like, I want to have that feeling that they have. And, you know, 4 years later, I was in that same spot and it was really, really cool. So, yeah, I think definitely 2016, watching the US Olympic trials, there's just something about the broadcasting, the production, and the way it just sounded really cool. And watching these incredible athletes, you know, like make the team, it was just amazing.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, seeing something that you want and you're like, I'm going after this and I'm going to get it. And also to see like the people, you know, along your path that you met that had such an impact on you, like giving you a pair of shoes. I remember, I think when you left Philly last year, didn't you have like 2 suitcases filled with shoes that you were bringing back to Kenya?
I actually had 4.
4. Oh my goodness.
Because again, you know, that inspiration, you know, from Tekla, now that I'm in a place where I have an amazing sponsor in Hoga and they give me free pairs of shoes so that when I go home, I can give out shoes. So I had 4 bags full of shoes when I was going home a couple of years ago, actually. So that was really cool. You know, like I'm able to hopefully inspire another kid like my idol Tekla inspired me.
100%. Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. So cool. And Bart, what about you? You've ran on what? Every continent, right? You've had thousands and thousands of races.
Yeah, my break came in 10 years after I started running when I got hired at Runner's World, and that opened up a lot of doors for me. People like George Hirsch, Amby Burfoot, or, you know, became personal friends of mine. But, you know, it's one of those things they just, whatever assignment I got, I just did it. I never turned an assignment down. One of my early assignments was running the Badwater 146-mile race through Death Valley. You know, and you run it in July. And once I did that, they said, okay, we can send this guy anywhere. And then next thing I know, I'm in Antarctica and the Arctic Circle and Cape Town, South Africa, and comrades in South Africa, you know, literally all
Or most people would just quit their job if they were told, hey, your first assignment is to go run Badwater.
Yeah,
just find a new job.
When I always said I had a dream job, I always preface it. I had a dream job for a runner, because the average person, if you walked into work and said, oh yeah, Thursday you're heading to Death Valley, you got to run 146 miles, you know, in the month of July, they wouldn't be too excited about it. But I was pretty excited about it.
Wow.
But I, you know, to just turn it into a career just was a dream come true for me, and I had a lot of fun doing it.
That's awesome.
I'm retired, and but I like my retirement life. I never retired from running or the running community or doing a few things in running, but I did step away after. I spent 31 years on the road. It was a joy the whole time, but it's an arduous lifestyle. I'm not that young anymore to keep up with the rigors of going to the airport every 3 days.
Yeah.
So I'm happy where I'm at right now.
That is a lot. Yeah, that's awesome, Bart. You've had an amazing career. And our next question kind of runs into that. So I'm going to ask you, Bart, this one. What keeps you going when it's not fun and it's hard?
Yeah, that's sort of my life. I had a lot of problems with Lyme disease. I just had blood work done a couple of weeks ago, and my numbers are really bad. And when I get those high numbers, I know I feel it in my joints. So it's not fun some days, but I keep doing it because if I don't do it, I hurt worse. So I gotta, they say motion is the lotion. You got to keep moving. So I head out there, just run a lot slower than I used to run, a lot shorter than I used to run. But it's so funny. Some people always ask me, why are you still out there running? You're going so slowly. And I always tell them, because I love it. It feels good to me. Like I know I'm running slowly, but it doesn't matter. I'm out there, I get a couple miles in, then I come back home, fire up my second cup of coffee, and I'm ready to work on whatever project I got going on. It fuels me to keep me going. And I see a lot of people out there that, that I connect with, and they inspire me to keep going. It's hard to run on this rail trail, and it's really hard because everyone knows me on this rail trail. So I just go the whole way and hey, Bart, and then they start asking me questions, and I'm like, I can't solve medical injury problems that you have like out here. It's so questions like it, but I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
out there.
Yep. You love it.
And I will say one thing. I committed to, when I was at the Comrades Marathon in South Africa, I committed to being a runner for life, because I interviewed a lot of Black South Africans runners that through apartheid never had the opportunity to run, and they were suppressed from everything. And they always told me, but when we ran Comrades, we felt free of apartheid. And I thought, man, and that's after talking to them and seeing the tears run down their cheeks, that's when I said, if a sport is so powerful that it can suppress something as evil as apartheid, that's the sport I want to do for the rest of my life. So
yeah.
I'm stuck to it.
It's amazing, Bart. Really, really awesome. What about you, Aliphine? What keeps you going when it's not fun and it's hard?
I think in general, like even though running is my job, honestly, running is like a drug. I'm addicted. I'm an addict, and I am the best version of myself when I'm running. When I'm out there running, I feel powerful. I feel like nothing can get me. And even like on days that are hard, say, as a parent, you had a hard night, you didn't sleep well, and I go out and run and I come home, I have a lot of energy to do things that I wasn't even planning on doing. And so I'm really the best version of myself when I'm running, but that doesn't mean that it's always fun. I mean, as a matter of fact, I ran probably my worst ever race 2 days ago. And I went from, my marathon PR is like 5:29 pace. In a 20K road race, at some point I was running 6:45 pace. And I felt like I was going all in, and I wanted to stop, but then I've never really stopped in a race before. And I remember thinking, it's days like this that are going to make you stronger. It's today that is going to make you better. And I think I came into terms with the fact that that was the day that I had, and that I can't always quit when things get hard. It's like when things get hard, you have to figure out a way to get through them. And that's life, like life is always hard. Life is going to give you challenges. And if you quit when you encounter your first challenge, you're never going to be able to go far. And I'm really glad that I finished. Honestly, I'm like, I don't even know that I raced 2 days ago. It feels like, I think I've already erased it out of my memory. But I think I definitely was able to just let go of expectation, let go of disappointment, let go of what people are going to think of me. And I remember I'm running like along the course, running closer to 7-minute pace, and people are cheering. They're like, "You're doing great." And I'm like, actually, no, I'm not. You have no idea how bad I'm running right now. Like as an example, I had a girl that was running in front of me, and she would run and stop and walk. I was running the whole time, but I couldn't catch her. So that's how bad it was.
Yeah, I love what you said. Like, it's gonna get hard, and if you don't challenge yourself and push through, think of like any race that you run is hard. And so you have to have that muscle that knows how to work through, and that's like a mental muscle most of the time than it is even physical. But yeah, life is hard. There are challenges. It's like welcome the trials, because that's when you are able to grow and get stronger through the difficult moments. So
Yeah, and I apologize. I am in this room where the light is motion sensor. So if I sit for a while, it goes off.
just start waving your arms around and we know it's
Yeah.
fine.
No, but you're right though, you know, like life is challenging and we always have to continue to figure out new ways to you know, to get through the challenges. And I'm also reminding myself, honestly, like as I get older, I've been running now for 23 years. It's such a gift. It's a privilege to be able to run, because I think I still remember my first Philadelphia marathon. Diane, you know, and her friends. Diane had a terminal cancer and she ran the 3 races. And I'm thinking, I am healthy. I am alive. I have my full life ahead of me. And I'm just going to make excuses and not get through these challenges. Yet you have this woman who has like a few months to live and she's having fun. She's running and her friends are enjoying it. I think that was like a game changer for me too. It's just like running is such a joyful thing. And I'm just very grateful to be able to do it healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. That really changes your perspective. I have like chills because I remember that. That was amazing. Yeah. So true, Aliphine. Wow. Jared, what about you? What keeps you going when it's not fun and it's hard?
Well, one thing that I often think of is how setbacks just create opportunities for incredible stories. So, you know, and I admire how quickly Ali's been able to erase this race from her memory. I ran the same race and it wasn't the worst race in my life, but it wasn't great, and disappointed in the result. And, you know, I think step one is, you know, you don't fuel your mind with the failures, you fuel your mind with the successes, because that validates what you are and what you want and what you do, and that fuels confidence. And so it is a skill to be able to process the bad, but get it out of your mind and let's not focus on that. And when you have setbacks, they just become, you know, the perfect opportunities for beautiful stories. You know, think Aliphine's running Chicago in 4.5 weeks. You know, she ships off to high altitude and trains hard and comes back and runs the race of her life at Chicago. What a story, right? What an opportunity to say, hey, this is what happened to me one time in my life. I ran the worst race of my life. And then I made a few choices. I chose to do this. I could have responded a few ways. I could have gone back to the bar and I could have gone and, you know, and just eat, you know, whatever, given up, not run the next day because I hated running because it was but I chose to do this and this and this, and it was hard, but I succeeded. And Coach Eystone will always tell me, he'll say, Jared, you can't make decisions when you're still frustrated and disappointed from the race. And so if I come home from a marathon and say stuff like, I don't know, coach, maybe I'm done. He says, no, we can't talk about that yet. And I think there's a skill to, when you feel good, do the right things, right? If you wake up in the morning and you have energy and you have motivation and you then set good habits, take advantage of, hey, I feel good today. So I'm going to run and I'm going to do the things that I know I should be doing. And I'm going to set good habits so that when I wake up and I'm feeling crummy because of whatever result that happened temporarily, I can go into autopilot mode and I can flip the switch and say, you know what? I don't feel like running. I don't feel like doing anything. My life just took a turn that I didn't want it to take, but I can go on autopilot for a minute because I've set these habits. I get up in the morning and I run, and you lean on that habit because you have cultivated it when you're doing all the right things, and it can get you through that hard phase. You get through the hard phase, start validating the things that you're good at, and then before long, you're ready to focus on the positive again and get back to work. And then you can make decisions. Then you can make rational, logical decisions.
Yeah, that is wise. I think it's so hard. Our feelings get so like they take over it, right? And if you're frustrated, you're like so certain about like, this is what I'm going to do. But you're so right. I think it's better to have that set up so that you can, get back to a good mindset and be able to make like proper decisions that future you is going to be happy about, not disappointed in. something else I was thinking about with like getting through difficult times, like we've all been through difficult times before and we've made it out of them. So like, don't forget that you've done it before, you know, like when you see a challenge in front of you, it's like, how am I gonna do this? It's like, you've already done it. Don't forget about what you've been through already. Like you've proved it to yourself once, twice, a million times, you know, you can do it again. I feel like so many times we forget about how strong we actually are mentally and what we're actually capable of. So yeah, the challenges are not fun, but they're really important and they help to make us stronger and better. That was great wisdom, great advice, guys. All right, now we have a question from the audience. What's one race you recommend everyone run if they can?
Philadelphia Marathon.
That's the answer.
That's the right answer, Jared.
Ding, 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 ding.
You can go, but
Okay, I always say the Comrades Marathon in South Africa because it is known as the ultimate human race and a race that changed the complexity of an entire country. So I always, but it is called a marathon, but it's actually 56 miles. So you got to, even though they call it a marathon, it's actually 89 kilometers with 6 miles. Just a reminder if you're interested in doing it.
Very cool.
you know what, Alexandra, yes, Philadelphia Marathon, but I am going to say, that should be, especially if you're running a marathon. But I think for me, if I was going to recommend a race, Boulder 10K, if you're going to run a 10K, because it finishes in a stadium. And oh my God, when you come into that stadium, you feel like you have wings. It's so loud. It's incredible. It's like, for me, like I've ran it 3 times, and the first time I was like, I bet this is what the Olympics feels like. It's just, I've never seen anything like that. So if you're running a 10K, for sure, I would recommend, Boulder. But then if it's a marathon, go to Philadelphia.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so Jared, I know you mentioned a little bit about your coach. I mean, you guys have all talked about coaches and people in your life. So wondering what your support system looks like, from coaches to trainers, therapists, family, like what does that look like for you guys?
It's extensive. They like, it's hard to list it all, right? I'd feel like the the MVP, football MVP, when they shove a microphone in your face and they say, I want to thank my mom, my dad, my brother, and then it goes on and on and on, and it could go on forever. Success breeds success, and it's contagious. And when you surround yourself with people that are succeeding, and then it's inspiring, and you surround yourself with people that are in a position to help and inspire and take care of you, then you succeed, and it's important. I had in the 2016 trials, we talked about it a little bit. There was one point in the race where I thought I was done. It was about mile 24, and my legs felt like lead. It was hot. I finished the race about 15 pounds lighter than I started it. So I was beyond dehydrated. You start to, performance is affected at like 2% of your body weight, and I had lost like 10% of my body weight. Wow. And I was in 3rd place, so in a position to make the Olympic team, but I was struggling in my mind because I thought, I don't know if I can do it. Like I am so tired. And it would look so crazy to watch someone in 3rd place step off the course with 2 miles to go. But I was just so tired that I thought, I don't know if I can keep doing it. And this camera truck pulled up next to me. And I remember thinking, well, I can't stop now. Mom's watching. And so I tried to stand up a little taller, and I thought, okay, here we go. And then the camera truck got right in front of me. And it was almost uncomfortably close. And I remember for a moment, looking into the lens of that camera, and I had the thought, people are watching me right now. And then I had the thought, people that I know and love and have supported me are watching me right now. And it was almost like I was on a newsreel of pictures flashing in front of my head. And I saw mom and dad and grandma and brothers and sisters and physical therapists and high school coach and college coach and massage therapists and teammates and sports psychologists, like all these people. And it occurred to me that I was seeing people for which any of which is removed from the puzzle, and I'm probably not in third place at the Olympic trials. It was like a fragile stack of Jenga blocks where if you move any one of the pieces, you know, you're done. And it hit me that it was their race. And just like it was my race, because they had made it possible. And that's really how I look at it. I mean, I've been with my coach for 10 years, and my wife and I raise our 5 kids, and she's incredibly supportive. And there's certainly some people that are integral to many aspects of my life. But in terms of who's responsible for the success in running, there's too many to name. And, you know, I'm so blessed to have had that network.
That's amazing. So cool. I feel like I was just watching a movie. You describing like I was in it.
I just talk too long sometimes.
No, that was perfect. But it's
But you're so awesome and so insightful though. It's like just keep talking.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
What about you, Aliphine?
Oh gosh, I feel like he just said everything, you know. But I think as a mom to a 2-year-old right now, though, you know, in addition to everything, and he already mentioned this, I think for me, my husband and my daughter as my biggest support system, because for example, when I went to this race, we'd planned on coming down and staying in Phoenix, you know, to have like a little staycation. But then because my race went so bad, I came back and I missed all of our plans. I had to go see, you know, like therapists, you know, like as in like I see this really cool physiotherapist in Phoenix, and I ended up not even like hanging out with my family. And I'm thinking it is really, really hard to be a family of a professional athlete, right? Because our lives are so unpredictable. Like I cannot even imagine what it is like to try to keep up with that. And so I think my husband is my biggest support system. And gosh, I wouldn't be able to do this without him, because, you know, when I go out for races, he's the one who is taking care of our daughter. And when I'm doing my training, and he's with our daughter. So yeah, and then he's seen me, you know, go through some of those really, really bad races, and he's been there and been my rock. But yeah, aside from that, I mean, we have like the coaches, the massage therapists, the physical therapists. There are so many people, and like Jared said, if one puzzle is, you know, removed, everything else falls apart, right? But I feel too, like as an older athlete, you know, like my family is my rock, right? Like if I didn't have a coach, I could probably at this point run a little bit. But if my family was not there and were not supportive, I wouldn't be able to even make it through another week of running. So definitely my family.
Yeah. Wow. I love the humility, you know, that it's obviously you guys are the runners, you guys are the athletes, but there are so many people behind the scenes that are there making it all possible. That's great. And Bart, what about you? What's your support system look like?
You know, unfortunately, my older brother, who really was the one that convinced me I could be a good runner, he passed away from cancer, but he's still that person I think about, because he really convinced me to do it. Convinced me I could be successful at it and make a career at it. And I didn't believe it. I did. And that amazes me how he did that. But he inspired me still to this day, even though he passed away 20 years ago. So it is that, like I said, it's family, the people that behind you that really believe in you, that makes it all the worthwhile.
Beautiful. Awesome. All right. We are about 10 weeks out from Philly Marathon.
Yeah.
And Philly Marathon weekend. So if you were 10 weeks out from a race, what would you be doing physically and mentally right now?
Physically, I would be working on that long run, and I'd be simulating whether I was doing like 8K half marathon or marathon in Philly. I'd be simulating, if you can, I know jobs get in the way and family get in the way, but if you can start your long run the time the Philly marathon starts or half marathon, whatever race you're doing, and really simulate what your plan, when you're going to get up in the morning, what you're going to eat, do all that stuff in training. And then on race day, it tends to really work. And this is the time to do it. You're not running as far as the race you're doing, but you're running that longer run. And do all that test stuff now. And then the mental part of it is easy because you've done it in training. And now you just go out and do it in race day. And race day, you have thousands of people around you and all the chaos of people screaming at you, on the course. I mean, Philly is such a great race for that just sense of everyone out there. So yeah, simulate those long runs, what you plan on doing on race day. And now is the time to do it.
Awesome. What about you guys?
But I
Can
love
go,
the-
Jared.
Okay, all right. I love this phase of training because it's it's to me it's autopilot training. It's like this is what I do. I run and I sleep and I eat and in life it's not it's not so close to the race that we're getting too worried about the little details of the race. Oh, is it hilly? Is it going to be hot? Is it, how are we going to prepare for the minutia, the little, it's like, just get fit. And I love that part of training because I don't have to, think about as many small things. And so enjoy the training. And if the training is fun, just enjoy it. And you get to go week to week, you get to run, you get to run hard long runs, you get to run hard workouts, and you don't have to worry about about if it was too hard or not hard enough, or this is just it's a fun time to get fit and to be consistent with your training. If it's not fun, then it's a great time to start thinking about, man, what would make me excited on race day? What type of goals should I be considering? What type of stuff, when I think of Philadelphia and the third weekend in November, I'm going to have some sort of result. What type of result am I going to look back on and be really excited about, and start finding something that's going to kind of spark that motivation? Because it's not too early, but it's not too late. And I think this can be a really kind of a really low pressure, fun part of training where we just kind of set good habits and get some good training in.
Yeah. Awesome. Aliphine, what about you? 10 weeks out. What do you?
Gosh, I'll be drinking wine with my friends. It's like I got 10 weeks out. That feels like a whole year. But now, in all seriousness, I think for me, 10 weeks out, I'm still goofing around. I'm still not taking any workout seriously. If I went to a workout, I'm like, oh, I don't care. If you want me to run your workout with you and it's slow, hey, it's better. I don't want to be in pain 10 weeks out, And so I think, like Jared said, 10 weeks out is a lot of fun, to be able to do long runs and run with friends that are probably not able to usually run with you because maybe you're a little intense, you're a little fast. This is the time to go, run with them and just have fun and get the best fitness going, because 10 weeks is a long time. I mean, even 5 weeks is a lot of time. And so you don't want to get serious 10 weeks out, because then by the time you get to rest day, I feel like you already be burned out in terms of the intensity of what it takes to train for a marathon or a half marathon. But also physically, if you start getting fit 10 weeks out, I think by the time you get to rest day, you're completely fried. And so I think it's just that time where, like, hey, I could still go hang out with my friends and, have fun until late in the night. And I can go run my run, in the afternoon, because it's not intense yet. So I would definitely enjoy the rest 10 weeks out. And if it's not going well, remind yourself that you have a lot of time. That also, to me, is the time to really think about how your body's feeling, because you're not overloading it. It's workout yet. We're not doing anything too intense yet. So it's like, if you're feeling any nickel and pain, that would be the time to really decide, do I want to take a day off and treat this so that it doesn't become a problem and you don't have to take a week or, a few weeks off, like, in a few weeks or not. Like, so I think that's the time to really listen to your body and be like, okay, I have time. What do I need to do right now to succeed in 10 weeks? Because like I post about this, it's like, I do workouts even like 6 weeks or even now, and I'm like, gosh, that did not go well. That was not fun. But then I'm like, note to self, I do not need to be ready today. I need to be ready on rest day. So I tried to like convince myself, like, okay, I wanted that workout to go well, but it didn't go well. But you know what? Today does not matter. What really matters is that big day. So I think just having a bigger picture perspective is really good 10 weeks out.
Seems like mindset's always important when it comes to training, but just, yeah, you're 10 weeks out, you still have time to be able to, like Jared was saying, just set your habits, get familiar with what you're going to be doing on race day, understand that it's not as important. If you're not feeling totally ready, you still have time. So all great stuff. We have a question from the audience. Let's say you're running a challenge, like a Patriot Challenge or Independence Challenge, where you're running different races, like the 8K and the full marathon. There's different speeds that you're running, obviously very different distances. How would you be thinking about training now, again, 10 weeks out, if you have two very different races like that coming up?
I think I'll just train for the big one. Like for me, I think what I have found is that, say, except from this weekend, right? I always run some of my best races when I'm training for marathon. And so it's like, if I'm doing a challenge, like for example, Philadelphia Marathon weekend, I've seen people do the 8K and the half marathon and the marathon. I think just focusing on the marathon will really help you to just build, like enough fitness to be able to do the 8K fast and to do the half marathon relatively fast and the marathon still fast. So I think that focusing on the bigger race, you will end up getting fit anyway and running well in these other events. And like, even then, like, even when you're training for marathon, you're not just running 20 miles every day, right? You're like working on speed another day, you're working on hills if it's a race, if it's a hilly race, you're working on your strength training, you're working on all of these things so that when race day comes around, you are like an all-round, athlete, and you're able to incorporate everything and have a successful race. So I think that if you're running an 8K, you're already doing workouts that will help you run a fast 8K on one of those days.
Mm-hmm. Smart. What do you think, Jared? What about you?
Yeah, Coach Eyestone style training is when you're really fit to run a marathon, you're ready for a 10K too. We do incorporate speed training into marathon training, and you'll see that the Philadelphia Marathon does a great job in providing a lot of variety of free access to training plans depending on what your goals are and your time and where you're at. And you'll see reflected in the training plan with my name on it, Coach Eyestone style training, which is, get really, really fit, and the speed helps your marathon and your marathon training helps the speed. And so, I was really shocked coming out of college. I was running 5 and 10Ks in college and started training for a marathon. And I thought, Coach, not very much changed. Our long runs got longer. And maybe instead of 3 by 2 mile, we're doing 4 by 2 mile or 5 by 2 mile, but these are the same workouts. And a lot of times at the same speeds, we still do 4 by mile. I ran 4 by mile when I was training for the mile, and I run 4 by mile when I'm training for the marathon. And I think that, maybe it's not as different as you might think. As at least as I thought that it was going to be transitioning to marathon training. When you're getting ready for a marathon or a longer race, the long run is critical. And so I think, if you want to get into the minutia and say, okay, this is an 8K specific workout or a half marathon specific workout compared to a marathon specific workout, I would encourage you to let your weekend long run, or whenever you plug your long run, let that be marathon focused. This is about getting ready for whatever my longest race is. Maybe you can incorporate some tempo in it, a couple of miles or something at that pace that you're going to be running that long run at, just to test it, to feel it. If you want to do an 8K specific workout, put that somewhere else outside of your long run, and don't let that interfere with your long run. I think you can get, if you're doing an 8K workout or a marathon workout, it's all kind of a workout, but preserve that long run, and kind of earmark that for marathon prep.
Awesome. And Bart, what about you? If someone's
what Aliphine said is spot on. Train for a longer race. The only thing I would add, when you're doing the other race, you do it at like 90%, 95% effort. It's not an all-out effort. And then, so if you're doing the half on Saturday and the marathon on Sunday, train for the marathon. You run the half on Saturday at 90% of what you think you could do. Then you're not completely wiped out. You're ready to do the marathon the next day. But you must have, when you're doing these multiple races, you must really concentrate on hydration and fuel right after the race. Because you're not like other people that are heading to the brew pub because their race is over and they can, eat bonbons and drink beer. If you're running the next day, you got to really replenish, not only to put some proper nutrition and fluids right away after you finish.
Wait, Bart, can I ask you a question? It's just made me curious. So, to set the context, something that's pretty new right now in the professional training space is double threshold sessions, where you do a morning workout and an afternoon workout in the same day. And there's some controversy on it. What's your take on that as someone who's been a student of the sport for a long time?
Yeah, I would not train anyone that way, or I personally not do it myself. I just think, if you're doing a hard effort, if you're trying to do two in the, one in the morning, one in the evening, one of them's not going to be the right kind of effort. Like, you're either going to be, if you do the first one in the morning, you're going to be thinking about the one in the afternoon, and you're not going to push yourself to the edge, or you push so hard in that morning one, by the afternoon you just don't have it. I come from that school of thought where you really train hard and fast, and then give yourself recovery, and 2 days later go at it again. And
so factor fad, you're taking fad.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but I shocked myself a couple times doing, like a marathon on Saturday and a marathon on Sunday, and I was shocked how well I felt the day after to do another marathon. And that was just because I, traveling to all these events for work. I was not trying to rack up a lot of marathons, but I was shocked. So I know the body can do it, but I really think I don't know, at least my body couldn't do it at 100% both workouts. There's no way. But I see people recover so much faster than I ever recovered from workouts. I don't know how they do
it. Shoe technology is different.
Yeah.
So shoes help, right?
Yes.
Not every day, though, Jared. Not every day. My shoes didn't help me 2 days ago.
You were still tired yesterday?
Oh, I'm still tired today. It's like the hard races are really, really hard. But now it is interesting that you talk about that, the double T, I don't know, I'm with Bart. I told my coaches I could try double thresholds if it is very 10 weeks out, for example, which is when I'm still adventurous. But when it comes to the last 8 weeks, please just take it away from me, because mentally, I just want to be able to go hard on that one session and recover. So, yeah, but I've seen people succeed with it. So I don't know how it would be like if a marathoner was trying it. But I'm definitely ready to learn from other people. I don't think I'm going to be doing it myself, though. Yeah.
Well, I like that. I think takeaway is train like normal. You don't have to change. We think about, okay, I'm doing something crazy. I'm running a race Saturday and I'm running a race Sunday. And, takeaway might be just get fit and make a good decision on Saturday, right, Bart? And then Sunday will be fine.
If you're fit, it really helps. There's no doubt about it.
Awesome. Well, it is 8 o'clock. thank you guys so much for all the insights and the stories you shared. I mean, I thought it was a wonderful conversation. So thank you guys for just being so honest and vulnerable. Just letting everyone know again, 2023 Philadelphia Marathon Weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th. Saturday, we have the Dietzen-Watson Philadelphia Half Marathon, the Rothman AK, and the Nemours Children Run. Make sure you sign up for those because they are, especially the AK, is selling out really fast. And then on Sunday, we have the AACR Philadelphia Full Marathon. We have a price increase coming up on September 15th, which is our final price increase. So now is the time to sign up at the lowest price for now that you can get it. So make sure you do that. We also do have a training run on September 30th. Bart will be there. I'll be there. We'll have a bunch of people there. And also make sure you check out, we have free training plans on the website that Jaron Ward put together for us. So they're on our website. You can go to the training tab and see that and check it out there. But yeah, we are so excited. We'll be back on here for another webinar in about a month in October. So we'll be back here answering more of your guys' questions. There was a ton from the audience we didn't get to, so we'll make sure that we get to them next time. But thank you guys all for joining. Thank you for spending an hour with us. This was so much fun and can't wait to do it again.
Thank you, Al.
All right, guys, take care. Bye.
Thank you so much, and good luck, Jared.
Thank you.
Safe travels.
Good luck to both of you guys. Yes, and safe travels.
Safe
Yeah,
travels
thank
and
you.
Run happy.
Well, I think we'll have the next webinar right before my race. So yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, you guys.
Bye.